Hello, hello, hello. Here we are for coming into being, and I'm just getting myself set up here, waiting for Instagram to kick in as always. And we're almost there. It takes a bit of time. It's amazing. We get so used to this going, and there we are. Now I'm all set up on that side too. And here we are. So I just need to type in my little message. I'm not as coordinated tonight with the message. And just take a deep breath in, let it all out, and we'll be ready to go. Oops. All right, here we are. Have a cup of water by you, a cup of tea, depending on the season, time of day. And notice where you are. Just take a moment to see where you are. Tanya, hello. See where you are in this moment before we start. We'll see what comes in today. Every time, I find this so interesting that every time it's absolutely different, even as I get ready. And Sydney, hello, huge shift over here. Oh, good. You've been going through some good shifts, yeah, this year. Good, glad to hear that. And pretty calm today. Last time there was a nice warm up on my end pre-show time. So take a moment to see where you are. And Elise, hello, thank you. Happy to hear. Unfortunately, I have to leave 30 minutes early today. Hey, that's fine. You pop in when you can. And you know what happens? You kind of start there. Your spirit doesn't necessarily leave. The human does, but the spirit kind of hangs out. Person's essence will hang out until it's over. Sometimes you can kind of have a sense of that. There's a part of you that's just kind of hanging back, and so that's fine. And Karen, good morning. All right, so yeah, so noticing where you are, and I always recommend, you can kind of get into the habit of doing that for yourself. Well, it doesn't have to be regular, but even if you think about it once in a while, to just, let me see where I am, where my starting point is, where I'm coming from, and then move into an event, especially like an energy or frequency event, and then check back afterwards. Where am I at now? Do I need to? It's bringing to mind an experience I had. Okay, maybe another time. And Beanie, hello. So hello, everybody. So take a nice deep breath in. Settle into your environment. Settle into where you are now. And it's starting to happen, or it's been happening, but it's starting to get really noticeable with this space because we get a lot of riffraff coming through. That there's the space, and then there's the viewing section. It's kind of funny, it's like in those university hospitals or study hospitals where the doctors can view the operation from this viewing section and actually not be in the room. So we're starting to get that very regularly, because there is this space for the people who come here, or who are here to be serious about what they're doing, not just floating through and throwing out odd comments here and there. And today I can tell by the numbers that we have a lot of people who are just like popping in, God knows why, but so there's a crowd. So it's interesting. It's kind of funny for me to see that there's the space and the people who are come here regularly who are in that space. And there's some new people also that kind of pop in once in a while that are also in the space. But there's also quite a, I'll call it the peanut gallery that's showing up. So, and that's okay. You can kind of check in, but I'm keeping that space separate because the people who are coming here to, for themselves, to support themselves, deserve to have that care and that space for them. So, nice deep breath in, settling into whatever you're sitting on. And if you're standing, you're welcome to stay standing, or you can sit down or even lie down if you want. If you fall asleep, I've had people fall asleep when I used to do table work, in-person work, or when the occasion presents itself, mostly doing long distance now, that people will fall asleep on the table and they're zoning out because they're going in so deep that their mind is in a place where their mind can't hold on anymore, and then they just kind of zone out. So it feels like you're asleep, but you're not. You're just in a really deep state kind of place. So yeah, letting everything. So taking a deep breath, holding it, and then exhaling out all of what is not present moment. Yeah. And coming into that center alignment, it seems like we're going to have kind of a quiet session today. Just that center alignment. So coming into that core channel, you don't have a sense of that. Focus on your spine and focus like of putting your awareness like the front side of your spine. So the front side, this is the back side. The front side is actually internal to the body. So kind of bringing your awareness there. And notice how that shifts you. That alone will shift you into a deeper state. Make you more aware, more present in this moment, in the now. And just keep staying there. Yeah, keep letting your awareness rest there. Just going to anchor the whole group into the core of the earth. And just stay where you are. That awareness, being aware of your environment, but kind of letting yourself kind of rest back onto that front part of your spine. Yeah. And those. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, just a slow grounding process. So allowing that to just take place. There we go. Very, very soft connection into the earth today. That's kind of an interesting feeling. Not the usual. There's a very, very soft energy You might feel it as nurturing. You might feel it as loving. You might feel like you're just kind of being held. You might not feel it at all. It depends on where you are, if you've got any filters that are in the way of you noticing that. And maybe it's just the way it's coming in for you, is you're not recognizing it also. You might have a little bit of worry running around the front of your head here, that frontal lobe, that will get in the way of picking up information. So if you find yourself kind of a little bit of runaround, mental runaround, and feeling like you might even feel it localized, like front of your head, just kind of letting yourself sink back from that. And you might, when you sink back, you separate out, you sink into more of your body and become more aware of like your side of your head, the back of your head, like your awareness is just moving back and leaning back on the back side of your skull there. Yeah. So that separates you out. Because when you're really in it, you're not, and you're in it, so you're not necessarily feeling it, but you're engaged in it. It's pulling you around. And so by just kind of shifting, it's like, okay, let me feel the back of my head here. That separates you out. This energy is here, and that separates your awareness out. And so you float back, and it's like you can notice that. You can notice that it's almost like there's maybe a wall or a layer there, and even kind of looking down with your eyes, even if your eyes are closed, just kind of a downward movement, so that you're not looking straight through it, and just looking kind of down. Maybe get a sense of that. So I'm explaining a lot of what I was saying, kind of in detail, what I had seen happening to that mental kind of worry run around that was happening a little bit for some of you. And that shifted people back, and just let them kind of open up to that. So excuse me for not, we got a lot of riffraff comments here. So as that does shift me. Yeah, good. So that you were definitely one of them. So apologies if I missed your comment, the valid comment. So from that pulling backwards and then down into your body, letting your awareness just kind of float down, bringing it to what you're sitting on. So you have something tangible to log into. That seat, that cushion, notice the texture, if it's hard, if it's soft, if it's, if you were to describe it to me, I'm not there. I'm not seeing what you're sitting on. I don't have that physical sense of what you're sitting on. So how would you describe it? It's sort of like sitting on a big pillow cushion. It's sort of like sitting on wood, whatever. When you touch wood, it feels different than even if you touch your computer, your laptop, or cement. Think about those things when you're touching things. Notice how it feels. Really come into that tactile experience, because that also helps you anchor into the physical form, into the physical now. Yeah. Really nice state. Everybody just really did a good job there, because it took so little time today for everybody to just kind of line up to this. Very good. Some are still a little bit in their head, but there's that. Get these this energy that floats around you, and that kind of, and as soon as you pay attention to that, it's going to pull you in. So if you notice that, it's like, it could be, if you're in your head a lot, it could be it's just around your head. And so you might have something, you feel that around the top of your head or above you or sides or maybe all around your head, or just notice that. Take a deep breath in, exhale, come into what you're sitting on. Yeah, and just feel that. Fullness that's starting to come through more strongly. Yeah. Focusing on just the breath. And I'm going to explain something. So just keep focusing on the breath. Whenever you feel like you're getting off a little, or you're not, and maybe you aren't, but you would just kind of have that question mark in your head. It's like, where am I? Just take a nice deep breath in, hold it, and then exhale, and then come back into that awareness of what you're sitting on. Checking the counts. Okay. So what I want to explain a little bit is the detoxing process. Because people will think that they detox, they release stuff, and then they move up. Okay, it's not quite that simple. And sometimes what happens is that you're in this state of confusion. You might feel confused, you might feel lost, disoriented, unsure. And when that comes up, because you've shifted something that was was anchoring you in place, and when you shift that, well, you lose that anchor, and so all those feelings can come up, and those sensations and feelings like, whoa, where am I? What's going on? It's like, God, I don't know what to do. I don't know where I'm going. Okay, when you experience that, don't do anything. It's really tempting to just jump in and shift into action. It's like, okay, well, let me get oriented. Let me go off and do this. Just notice what comes up. And I did a post on Instagram on that, about spiraling. Sit for a moment with what you're feeling, however long that moment lasts, okay? And sit with it and just notice what comes up. Just be aware of what comes up. You might get an idea. Well, let me go do this. Let me go, oh, this, and it feels like it's intuition, okay? Really important. It feels like it's intuition. But what's happening is most likely the information that's coming through is coming through from the past situation, maybe coming from that old anchor that you just shifted, you cut yourself loose from, but it's still trying to hold on to you. Part of you, the part of you that was comfortable with that is still holding on to it. It's like, no, that identity is going, yeah, we got to hold on to this. And it's trying to steer you back to that. So what seems like intuition, and it's going to come through the same way that intuition does. And just sit back for a while. There's no rush. There's no need to act immediately, unless the house is burning down, then you might need to act immediately and get out of the house. But otherwise, just notice what comes up and just pay attention. Is this coming from a past experience? Have I done this before? Have I experienced this before? Have I been this way before? And if you have, do not act on it. Might feel hard. And if it feels hard, journal it, write it out. Just, do something to release that tension. It can feel really awkward and really, it's like that part of you is just like, I gotta act, and part of you is like trying to hold back. And so let that come out. And writing is that kind of free form writing, journaling kind of thing can be very helpful to just let that unwind and unwind out of your body. And take a deep breath in. So everybody right now, let's just take a whole deep breath in with a whole group. Hold it at the top, hold it a little longer, and then exhale. Settling in back into yourself, into that core, like you're leaning against your backside. You're feeling into your backside. Like with that, the back, spine has got you, leaning into that. Yeah. Settling back into the chest, the breathing space, noticing your ribs. So you're sitting there and you're managing to not just kind of watch what comes up and move through it, not get pulled into taking action. So what do? Okay, I'll guide you through this piece right now. So I'll give you the experience of what to do. So I can explain it, but this will be more tangible for you. So let's anchor down into the core of the earth. Let's all just drop your awareness down to the core of the earth. All the way down, 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 down. Oh, a little bit more. Let's just hang here for a little bit. Yeah, there it comes. Good, very nice. And just kind of hanging here. So now what I want you to do is just bring to mind your higher self. Whatever comes in, don't think about it too much. Just whatever pops up for you on that. Wherever it is, doesn't matter. Could be in front of you, could be above you. Could be just a sense that it's there. Notice that. And just stay where you are. You don't need to move in that direction. You don't need to do anything. Your system will automatically do what it needs to do. Your awareness just needs to stay centered in yourself. Come into that awareness of that higher self. And you can also ask yourself, how do I connect with my purest essence, my higher self, even more? Staying anchored and present in your physical form. And you might feel like there's a movement in that direction, but you don't move, you don't send your awareness out to your higher self. Because that will pull you out of your body, that will pull you out of time, and then that you won't get what you need out of it. So staying centered with yourself. Let's do that again. Drop down to the core of the earth. Let's just kind of clear that out. Get a fresh start. If your eyes are closed, just open your eyes and then close them again. It's a nice way to reset also. Yeah, I figured you'd want to, it would be helpful for you, but helpful for everybody. So everybody who's here, who's listening to this, can take advantage of this. Hey, sitting in the core of the earth. Yeah, Tanya you're popping up. Nothing in particular right now. You're just like this, wanting to make sure you're getting this, which is good. Yeah, nice. Now come into yourself. Really come into that core of yourself. Just pull in yourself, pull in your awareness inside. You can kind of, another thing is just feel like you're inside your body, just like you've pulled inside this little core structure that's defined by your skin, edge of your skin there. And Karen, you're doing better, but when you keep doing that, you'll notice that you weren't coming into your body as much as you thought you were. So you're coming in as much as you have a sense of being able to right now. And that's okay. You just kind of keep working on that. Elise, I feel like you kind of have a tendency to just be kind of floating up here, actually, above your head. And a little bit spacey. Space cadet? Does that make sense to you? Not necessarily all the time, but you have this identity that it's kind of like in that space. That's not you. So, okay, so really coming into your body, your core channel, or core center. Okay, just where is that? Where is just tuning in my higher self? Let me connect to my higher self. Let me see that. And don't move out of your body. Stay present the awareness in your body, but just have a sense of where it shows up for you. If it's showing up to the sides and to the back, that's probably not your higher self. It should be probably more like forward and be above you. And also ask, how do I connect to my highest self even more now? Feel that. Sort of like that's your lighthouse. You're a ship out in the middle of the ocean. There's your lighthouse, and it's beaming, it's flashing at you. And all you have to do is you stay in your boat, because if you try to go out in your boat and you're in the middle of the ocean, you're going to fall in the ocean. You're not going to be able to walk over to the lighthouse, right? So you stay in your boat, you stay in your body. And that lighthouse, that light just will guide the boat, and your boat will just, all you have to do is shift that direction of your boat. And that's just with that awareness. It's like, okay, there it is. And let yourself be guided in that direction. Yeah. So that, in doing that, so getting back to that original piece about, when you have shifted, sometimes that you can have shifted these kind of core pieces that have been anchoring you. And all of a sudden it's like, I don't know where I am. It's like, oh my God, what's going on? I don't know what to do. Lost, Just ignoring all that stuff that will come up, because it's the patterning is still there. And so when you just let yourself sit there and notice that, but not act on it, it will shift. And then if you are having a hard time just being present with that, and if you can just be present with that and just kind of sit in awareness of your breath, you might notice it's just shifting on its own. If you want extra directional guidance, connect in with your higher self and let that guide you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Karen, I'll get to you in a minute. And that will keep you from going backwards and going back to point A and starting all over again, going back to point A and start all over again. And you think you've progressed. And that happens to a lot of people is they think they've progressed because they've gone through that release. But the problem is you got to get past those patterns and that habitual patterning, and so that you don't get pulled back in backwards, looping backwards, and you keep moving forward into new, and the new is going to be something that you might not recognize. And if you're going with stuff that you're recognizing, you most likely getting pulled back into the old. Okay, Karen, how can I come more into my body? You just keep doing it. You just keep practicing. Stay connected to the inside of my spine. Yeah, so the inside of your spine, that's kind of it's an odd reference, right? We're not used to putting our awareness there. But just coming into your spine, and what happens is the mental part gets in the way. That happens with everybody. So take a nice deep breath in, hold your breath, or exhale all the way out. And at the bottom of the exhale, hold your breath. And then breathe in, come into your breath, noticing the movement of the body with the breath. Notice your body. Notice what you're doing with your body, So you just kind of develop that habit. And the way I would describe it also is that, especially if there's areas in your body that you're not noticing, it's like there's these empty neurological pathways in your brain, right? And so you've got to reinforce those pathways. You got to build up those pathways and reinforce them. And so just keep coming back to that. Just keep coming back to that. Your brain is going to habitual patterning is going to want to pull you into, what's in your head, what's going all around, and you just come back to that. Take a deep breath, come back to that. Over the weekend, Karen and Lisa helped me major purify. I'm entering phase 2 of cleaning up family. I don't know, this phase 2 cleaning up a family, you've probably been cleaning up family for phase 1, phase 2, phase 10, you're coming back to phase 2, 3. So you're cleaning up. You're just cleaning up, right? It's coming. I mean, I'm amazed at how I'm like, all of a sudden there's these little tiny things. It's like that happened like a long time ago. It's like, wow, that little piece is coming up, and I can see how it's tied to, it's just tied to whatever's holding me back at the moment. Can you clarify if part of this is tied to my legal address in my childhood home? That question is so technical, but that's a real brain question. And maybe it isn't, but bottom line, it's connected to your childhood. If you're clearing up family, it's connected to your childhood. You could be clearing up, 10 generations back right now. Whatever you want to call it, phase 2, you're just cleaning up. Right after I put those questions from last week into my reboot. Okay. Oh, so that started coming up for you after you put those questions in the reboot. Is that why? Not sure. Oh, questions from last week. Right. Okay. So I'm going to push you a little on this one. It's fine to put those questions in the reboot, but also let yourself have the time for your system to come up with the answers. The reboot might help to bring it forth faster, but what you're also kind of doing, there's this reinforcement of, I can't do this myself. Now, it is really, I'll grant you this, that sometimes it is very difficult to sit there and wait. You want the answer now. Recognize that. You've had that. That's kind of a long running theme for you. like many of us, there's this phase we just want to get it over with. We want to get ahead. We want to achieve. We want to be successful in what we're doing. And so that makes you reach out. I want to take care of this now. Meanwhile, last time I remember, I could see that your spirit said, okay, we're going to have to wait this one out too. Waiting for you to just come to yourself because the answers are there for yourself. I realize I'm living a life of the old me. Well, you know, until you're completely clear of the old me, that's going to be there. So, yeah, welcome to the club. We're all doing that. I notice when I go surf, I'm centered and time stops. I feel normal. But after I go back on shore, I'm all over the place again, and maybe a little more. How can I stay centered even after that? Oh, I know who this is. My buddy here, my surfing buddy. Yes. So, you know, so surfing, bungee jumping, skydiving, all of those things will take you into the moment. Why? Because if you're not in the moment in your surfboard, you know what's going to happen. You're going to damage yourself, right? Depending on how much the wave is, you know, what's going on there with the surf. If you're sitting on top of your surfboard and you're not present with what's going on, if you're not paying attention to all those details of what's going on, you're going to boom, right? So think about that when you're on shore. Do exactly what you're doing on the surf on shore. So what happens is you get into that old habit of just floating off and being elsewhere and not being present. So staying centered, you come on, you do exactly the same thing. You start paying attention to what's around you. What's going on here? What's going on there? What am I feeling? Notice what you're feeling. Notice your breath. Notice your body. Notice walking on the sand. Notice sitting on the, you know, your towel or on the cement or whatever. Notice the water on your body. So you got to keep practicing that. You know, ask yourself, what am I doing when I'm surfing? How can I take where I am and what I'm doing on the surfboard on land? Ask yourself that question and bring that into that conscious awareness. Yes, that's right. So which part of that is right? Right? Got into a lot of details there. So I just want to be fresh on that conversation there. Does that make sense, Elizabeth, with that surfing? You know, so it's practice. We all have those areas where we're stronger in being present in the moment. And so when we're not present, there's old patterns, old signals that are kind of keep coming back, old signals. And I think you've got that training for that time, that loop stuff training. I won't go into detail here, but we just have those areas where we're stronger in being present and other moments where we're not. Are you around people? What's happening? So ask yourself, what's happening around me? And this is for everybody, you know, when you notice that you're not in yourself, you're not in the moment, and, you know, even if it's after the fact, you notice that it's like, wow, yeah, I really wasn't present there. Ask yourself, it's like, okay, what was going on? What was causing me to pull away from myself, to disconnect from myself? Because that's what it is. Oh, there's this person. Oh, that situation. Oh, and clear it up for yourself. You know, when you notice that, you just say, okay, done with that. Let's end of this. Let's see. Yes, that makes sense. Good. Also, is it possible where if surf, there's a vortex where people get sucked in? Ooh, that's an interesting one. Wow, good question. Are you in Puerto Rico right now? For some reason, that's coming up to ask you. I guess it's coming up because there's some odd areas in the Caribbean area. So I don't know if that's where you are or not. But let's see. Yeah, there's little pockets of stuff, and it might not in Salvador. Okay, in El Salvador. So and yeah, so out of the United States, it felt like yeah. So that makes sense. It felt like just that tropical kind of island feeling. Yeah. So El Salvador is another is another one of those places. Um, there's a lot of jungle. I'm going to call it jungle energy. Um, and there's it's not necessarily dead space, but it's kind of that hidden stuff. So all the more reason for you to just practice that being present with yourself. Pull into your body, focus on your breath, and notice when you get pulled out and pulled in. The other day I was at a friend's house. We were just having a little gathering. It's a couple friends, and there was a little bit of tension in the discussion between me and this other person. All of a sudden, I could feel this weight just coming over me. So she was talking, and I just kind of stood still, pulled in my body, and then I saw it. I saw this thing just kind of like trying to like, but you got to pull into your body. You got to become real present. Otherwise, you're just getting pulled into by those energies. Yeah. Okay. Deep breath in. Yeah, so Sydney, I'm not quite sure on the, I guess that's right piece. But that's fine. If you got it, you got it. So that's good. All right. Let's take another nice deep breath in. This time, breathe, exhale all the way out. Keep exhaling out, 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 out. And at the bottom, hold it for, even if it's just count of 2, and then breathe in. I'll get to you in a minute, Karen. Settling it back into your breath. Okay, whenever you feel anything, such as anxiety, come into your body more. That's not you. You've got stuff hanging around you for one. Stage fright. What that makes me want to ask you is if you were put on the spot when you were younger, and it's like this sense of being put on the spot, and then something either critical or something just bad happening or getting railed into kind of thing. So that stage fright, it's like being seen. I was suspicious of stuff around me. Yeah, for a reason. So if you come forward to if you step forward, then that starts to you kind of step into the limelight, and you're seen, and that might kind of come at you. Criticized a lot as a child. So yeah. So all of that is kind of not all of those little pieces here are all about just being in this place where it's not safe for you to just be and express yourself without something negative coming at you, even if it's just verbal. So yeah, Sydney, I have been put on the spot too very strongly. Yeah. Yeah, so those little pieces. So Sydney, last time you were coming in with the money piece, you don't want to be on the spot. You don't want to be seen. That kind of works a little bit counter to getting out there with the money piece. Also, it doesn't make sense. As I was a high school art teacher, 35 years and no nervousness. Yeah, so here's the difference. I'm gonna wager this on you, Karen. The difference was that when you were teaching art, when you were an art teacher, it wasn't about you, it was about the art and teaching the art. So the focus was on what you were doing, not on you. And when the attention is on you directly, that's when the nervousness and the anxiety comes up. Okay. I have a pretty interesting experience from 30 years back on that. We were doing this in healing school. We were doing an exercise, 3 people. 2 people were like we were doing role playing. And so 2 people were like therapist and counselor. And then one was watching, and I was the first person watching. And I'm just sitting there watching. And all of a sudden, it's almost, I don't think, I don't remember if I was sweating, but it was like, holy shit. I was just getting so riled up inside and so scared and so nervous and so, just, and all of a sudden I realized nobody's looking at me. All of a sudden, nobody's paying attention to me. And because nobody, I'm not doing anything. And because I'm not doing anything, that they're going to see me. You don't and be seen as me. You don't want to be seen. So seen as me, and I correct that, because when you say be seen as me, then you're making that into an identity. You don't want to be seen. Yeah, that's a hard one. That's a really hard one. Yeah. And that just goes back to everything you said about childhood, what that was like. It's like, well, when you're you just get taken apart. Sydney, also, I can't remember what something I said. So something, but anyways, it's on the spot there. I have the being on it. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So let's take a nice deep breath in. Yeah. Good realizations. Sit with that. Feel yourself. Feel that react. Feel whatever is coming up for you. All of you. All, Elizabeth, with, what it's like when you're there on the beach with just what's coming up for all of you right now. Feel that. Pull into your body more. Come into your body and feel. See if you can just get that sense of whatever's going on as being just like on the surface of your body, but you're inside your body. So you can just take a deep breath in, take that, pull your awareness in more. So you can maybe feel your body is shaking, for example. And you pull in more, it's like the shaking starts to feel like it's on the surface of your body, and that's not you. Feel into that. See if you can separate that out. And say to yourself, when you get there, say to yourself, that's not me. Feel your physical body. Be aware of the physical body, because when you do that, they'll be pulled out a little bit. And say, this is me. Feeling your physical body. Speaking of cleanup family, there has always been a strong emphasis on the paternal line. For me, comes up every immersion, men in the same location, Germany for hundreds of years. Any reason? That's because you're carrying all that shit on you. It's in you. You're carrying all those frequencies in you. That's why, and it hasn't been cleaned out yet completely. Spanked and punched as a child. Oh, never knew why. If you, yeah. So there you go. So the anxiety is about coming into you. Anxiety is like, you don't know when you're going to get hit, and there's no reason. There's nothing like, oh, I knocked the glass over, I'm going to get hit. It's like coming at you out of nowhere for no reason. That's making you constantly walk on eggshells. That's a really hard place. So when you notice that anxiety, is just tell yourself, it's like, nope, Not me, not anymore. We're not going to do this. There's nothing happening here. Notice your environment. Notice where you are. Come into that present moment. Notice the current environment. Say, nope, we're not there anymore. This is where you are. Yeah. Elizabeth, could you read Andy Irons? He's a pro surfer. You know, it might. What's the underlying frequency of what happened to him? You know, I'm not going to get into that because it's like 10 to. It's kind of getting late. I'm not going to get into that one. I really admire his true purity, and I want to copy his surf frequency. So focus on the surf frequencies and filter out the rest, because the purity, you might be noticing the purity in the surfing, but there is some other stuff that I have a sense of, and I just don't want to take the time to get into that. I want to focus more on the people present. So watch that, because what you're really associating with him is the surfing and the way it looks. You know, it's sort of like when we go to the movies and we see actors and they have all these, like the actor that always has this wonderful role and always plays these wonderful people. God, he must be fantastic. And then in real life, they're like, or in their private relationships at home, it's just a total mess. So be aware of that. It's like, well, what you see, that purity that you see, it's like, my sense for you is that it's really about the surfing. And then there's this other piece. So just say, okay, I'm just gonna, like, I just want the surfing stuff, not the rest, because the rest is not about you anyways. And also it's fail. So you get into a lot of these things. Focus on just that. Tanya, as a child, I used to get spanked or beat many times for much of nothing. And I know my mom was beating me out of hatred and rage. Yeah. And out of a hatred, so I'm going to add to that, it's out of a hatred and rage for her towards herself, but she can't turn it on herself. She's got to turn it on externally to that person that she felt safe turning it onto. Because if she had turned it on, like maybe her husband or maybe, I don't know, was other adults, she would have gotten into it. So Tanya, look at that, and in connection to that piece that you have had come up kind of a little bit regularly, it's like, I don't understand. Can you see how that's coming from that place? I don't understand. I don't understand this. For me, I just say that, and it goes, boom, you're in that place. I don't understand why I'm getting hit, why I'm getting, I didn't do anything. I don't understand what this is going on, why this is happening to me. Do you get that, Tanya, that connection there? That's a big one. Yeah. And so disconnecting that from yourself. Can I breathe this anxiety away? Good question. Good question. So what happens with anxiety is probably your breath. Notice where your breath is. Yeah, you got to work in all directions, because if you just do it with the breath, you're just going to be controlling the feeling of anxiety instead of clearing it out. So it's like when you're breathing with anxiety, it's you're probably having a really shallow breath, so all the way just at the top. So that's why just that external exhale, all the way, exhaling all the way out, and maybe holding your breath a little bit at the bottom, that forces your body out of that anxiety tension, sort of, Tanya. Okay, just sit with that. It's like, I don't understand that piece of, like, I mean, does it make sense when you were a child that you were going, I don't understand why this is happening to me? You're doing everything. You're trying to do exactly what you need to do, and it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you're trying to do. It's like I don't understand why this is happening. it makes no sense. So I've been doing somatic breathing into the side of the ribs for over a year now. No change. Yeah, because you're in the place where you're just controlling the anxiety instead of addressing it. Okay. It might be really good for you to do a session, just something to consider. And anybody, if you need extra help with some of this stuff, because it's heavy stuff, check out the website, and consider doing just a one-on-one session. I always try to make her happy so I wouldn't get beat. So here again, it's I don't understand. I'm doing everything I can to make my mom happy. I'm still getting beat. I don't understand why this is happening. So look at that I don't understand part, because that's where it's coming from, and you kind of go blank. It's like your mind shuts down, and I've experienced that. So that's why I'm, with you saying that. Is it safe to beat a baby or a small child? I don't get it. Exactly. I don't understand. I don't get it is another way of saying I don't understand. How is it safe? It's psychologically okay. So it's safe in terms of the identity that doesn't want to get torn apart. And you'll see that with kids who are getting abusing animals, because that's a safe thing for them to do, because they need to release that out. They can't hit back to the person that's hitting them, or else maybe they'd get beaten up so bad they would get killed in the beating. That's why I'm saying it's safe, because that baby, that child will not hit them back. That's why it's safe. If you're getting in a fight with an adult and you start punching them, the adult is probably going to punch you back. Does that, you get that now? It's a disconnect with the person doing the abuse. It's a disconnection from the abuse it's a disconnection from the feeling of what the impact and how it's impacting you, the abuse, how the abuse is impacting you. That's the disconnect. It's not within. Oh, I see. Yeah, sorry, I didn't read that. Disconnect within the person. It's a disconnect within the person receiving the abuse. There. Okay, totally get that now. Yes, good. Okay, deep breath in. We're coming at the top of the hour here. And next week, just a forewarning, we're going to have a hard stop because I have another event at 8. But that's next week. That's not today. So let's take a nice deep breath in. Lot of stuff coming to the surface for people. Let's drop back down to the core of the earth. Let's just get into that. A lot of good stuff. This is a lot of good stuff for people. And the other piece for you, Tanya, is to kind of get that awareness of the reason you now, in the present moment, not here today, but you know what I'm talking about. Say, I don't understand. That's just a replay of, that's that part of you that's stuck at that back at 6, 8 years old. And it's going, I don't understand. It's so shut down back then that you couldn't even hear yourself say that. And it's survival. All right. Connecting into the core of the earth. Yeah, there's a lot of going, yeah. Coming into that, yes. A lot of deep stuff here. Take a few more moments because this was pretty really big, coming to the surface, coming into your breath, coming into Just noticing the breathing, just not trying to make it anything in particular, breathing in any area in particular. Just noticing where your breath is right now, however it's happening, is exactly what you need to be noticing. Yeah. There we go. Coming back into that calmness, centeredness. Yeah, good work, everybody. Very nice. Just want to flash up my QR code for the brief moments that were remaining here. If it comes out, oh, the internet's a little slow, so that's not going to happen. Okay, guys, time to end the show here. Thank you all for coming by. Yes, the internet is not bringing up the information, so I'm not even seeing your comments anymore. So have a good rest of your week. We'll be here next week, and take care. We'll see you wherever we are in the ethers. And next time you pop up here too. And take care.